Hey everyone, DayTraderRockStar here with you for a very important market update video, a sector alert, and maybe some stocks that are setting up for this week. Amazing week last week, amazing week on the site. Again, the watch list was dead on. The watch list this week, I'm going to be doing the watch list right after this video, and I'm kind of excited about it. I'm going to mention the sector I'm going to be looking at. I think it's and I'm going to show you some great setups too. But the S&P, which we're going to focus on right now, the S&P 500, the SPX, had a nice little rally this week. Kind of closed down a little on Friday as we went into overhead resistance here, and you can see this pattern playing out. The big things that again, if you followed this video series, I rely a lot on the stochastic indicator along with some of my other indicators, and one of the indicators, of course, is pattern recognition, and being able to develop a pattern before a pattern develops in a way. Don't take that like talking like a Yoda Jedi Master here, but basically you want to be able to predict the market, know where you want to get in before the market moves, and that's what I always try to do for you. So I'm not going to sit on the fence and tell you, oh, it could go this way, it could go that way. I want to tell you what my indicators are telling me, and again, technical indicators work great in a steady trending market. Absolutely fantastic. When there is outside news that can put a kink in the technicals. So that's the only thing I would say is any type of negative news that comes out, be it here in the States or over in Europe, that can affect the markets, of course. Worst case scenarios, the market's going to get going to have some spiky moves. But I think you're going to be interested in this video. I'm looking for an upside move in the markets, and the reason I'm going to show you right now. We had a recent crossover in the stochastic, so we knew that we were getting close to an oversold level. Yet I am not 100% sold on this yet. We never really got down into a spike level, but I did measure this out, and we saw that other areas we pulled back. We never really have to get, sometimes not have to get down into that 20 zone or underneath 20 to see that market rally. We did back here, but we didn't over here, and we didn't over here. We did here, and we did here. And lots of times I wait to see that, that move down into that 20 zone, which I consider, starting to get oversold on the momentum. The momentum starting to get oversold, and then we're going to look for that move up. And lots of times we do look for that type of channel, and you want to buy it on the lower part of the channel, just like you want to buy stocks on the lower part of the channel line if you recognize it, recognize the pattern. So we got a little move up here, a little surprise move, 5-day move, 4-day move. But a pretty decent rally, 100-point rally on the ES, S&P. And this can be seen, mostly, with the stochastic crossover, the tight channel, which, this video right now we're going to focus on. There's a lot of education to gather from this video. I almost wanted to repost last week's watch list, because last week's watch list, and you can go back over the watch list and see the education compared to this week, because I want to review a lot of those stocks on the watch list from last week. But let's take a look at the 60-minute chart. And we knew that the 60-minute chart was a good level down here. We had oversold stochastics, lower trend line. And the lower trend line might have, I always talk about a channel stronger than a wedge. So why don't we use this this area here and just call it a wedge? All right, well, because most likely the wedge, in this type of market or whatever, and the wedge is a very, technical pattern in itself. It has to be the right decline, it has to be the right angle. But whenever I see, a decent top line trend line starting to form, I try to take the larger, the furthest pivot area away from that, and just draw a parallel line. And now, when the market came down to that level and actually started reversing off of this level, and we had a double indicator of the oversold stochastics, that really put into place that this channel line was really intact. And we knew that our first target would be at the top part of the channel line here and the 200 period moving average. So technically this looks like a sell area. You know, you're pushing right up against the 200, right up against the top of the trend line, and the stochastics are overbought, excuse me. So what do we do here? Everything's telling us to sell. And that's what you have to look for. You have to see, and I'm not saying the sell is not going to come yet. You know, if we do get a crossover, and one of my criteria is, again, I'm looking for long, but I will change over if we do break down on the daily and we get a further one more crossover on the stochastics here and we started pushing back down, then I will, you know, then I will turn bearish again. But one of the reasons I am looking for an upside move today is because I've been scanning through hundreds of stocks tonight, hundreds of stocks. You know, as preparation for the 10 for 1,000 watch list, and the watch list is basically, again, you know, normally between 10 and 20 stocks. I try to keep it around 10 so we don't get overwhelmed, of stocks that are set up technically. And my technical high probability setups, which I call the HPSs, are usually multiple indicator setups. So I want to have those setups where the stochastics are setting up a lower trend line, recognizable pattern. You know, I want those three criteria setting up. And if I don't have it, it's not an HPS. It's not a high probability setup. And if it is, which we had a lot of high probability setups last week, that's why, you know, that's why a lot of these stocks were very, you know, very safe to get into, because it really means a lot when you have that. And even news that came out on Friday is part of the process here. Now, again, we pushed up against this trend line, up against the 200 period moving average, and we got overbought. And we started pulling back, and then on Friday we get Fitch to downgrade Italy and Spain. Now, this market's normally, you know, scared of, you know, all this debt crisis over in Europe and stuff, and we've pulled back on the daily to a point where, you know, we bounced up, we consolidated into a little bear flag. We looked for the breakdown of the flag, and we got a fast little breakdown of the flag, bounced back up, then broke down, and then reversed and put in a real big reversal candlestick here. This candlestick, really a big reversal candlestick, and from that point we moved right back up to the top of that trend line. Yet the stochastics are just getting moving. So whenever you get like a tightening of a downward trend line, lots of times you'll see that break to the upside. But is it time for that break to the upside, or is there, you know, more room to the downside? I think a lot of people are thinking more room to the downside. So we look at the 60-minute chart. We also see it's not telling us anything other than possible crossing over. Other than we do see a little flutter trying to push back up on the stochastics, which happened early Friday. We started to make a run for it, and then we reversed later in the day. Now, how do you determine when the market's going to move up? You know, especially out of a channel. So when you have a recognizable channel, it's really, you try to trade the channel at the extremes. You short at the top, you go long on the bottom if it's a downward channel, and you pretty much do the opposite of an upward channel. You know, so what I do is I try to go through a set of stocks, and again, I went through hundreds of stocks, and because of the market's now not in a real trending market, and there's still a lot of volatility in the market, I've switched my research off the daily chart back down to the faster time frames, and the one I really use now is the 60-minute time frame, which is so important. You know, a lot of the watch list this week is going to be based on the 60-minute chart, and the technicals off of that, especially the stochastics, the full stochastics off of that, which is a golden signal. I don't know, you know, sometimes I bang the table during my show and I get very passionate about certain things, and I could be more passionate about the 60-minute chart and how you should adopt it into your trading. I've you know, I've traded for so long, and once I've realized that, you know, there's no, you know, I don't know, you know, there's no holy grail to the markets. You know, the markets are always evolving, but when you grab onto something, you see the change of trend. That's half your work, is being on the right side of the trend. So in a case with the 60-minute chart, you could see 60-minute chart representing 60 minutes. And what is that? 3, 4, 7 hours, about 7 hours, I guess, to the trading day, give or take a half an hour. And so you get 7 of those periods in a day, and lots of times you'll see a 60-minute chart go for about 2 to 3 days. So you have a 2-day. That's golden for us. That's golden. We want to be in a stock, get the maximum move in the shortest amount of time. So when we do that, you know, we work off the 60-minute chart, and once you see that 60-minute channel or trend break, most likely you get a nice extended move there, especially if you can establish a channel. So you know that you're going to get a nice 3 or 4 day move one side, a break of that channel, 3 or day, and so on and so forth. Until, how do you determine a change of direction? So that's where you come down to the 60-minute chart and you look for what I call a stochastic price divergence. When you make lower lows, right? This is great information, people. Just grab onto this, use it. As Bruce Lee would say, take what is useful for you and discard the rest. But just pay attention here a little and practice it. Watch the stochastics on the 60-minute chart. Watch when they become oversold. Watch the price level. Watch when there's a trend. It's usually the trend continues in the direction of the trend. Lower low, a lower low, a lower low. All right, that's an established trend. A lower high, lower high, lower high. Very simple concept. Stochastics oversold, 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 overbought, overbought, overbought. All right, that's a very good. So now when you're looking at a downward channel versus an upward channel, we're looking for a break to the upside. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the stochastics to pull back down. And we're going to watch the channel. We're going to watch the price level comparable to that. And we're going to watch it. And we're going to see how far it pulls back versus by the time it gets oversold. Now all of a sudden you have oversold, oversold, oversold. Now you have oversold again. But wait a second, the price is way up here. There's something wrong. There's no more lower lows. So that's telling me that there's a divergence and we're going to look for a break to the upside. I use this technique on the 1-minute chart trading the ES2. And we used this great, it was a great setup on Friday. I walked everyone through it. I said, watch the pullback. We saw the stochastics pulling back, but the price was holding off. We were pushing up against a trend line. And everyone was, I don't know, the call, I guess, would think that, with the market the way it was, we're in a downward trend the whole day. That was the first time we could actually see that market trying to push up against it, and we made that call, and it popped up. There was other things out there that contributed to the pop, the 200-period moving average and stuff. But again, that all comes with the education on the site. So we didn't get the pullback yet. So how do I know that this market has a good shot of going up? Well, it comes to the research. It comes to going through hundreds of stocks and seeing the same setup on a lot of different stocks. So I'm going to just show you some of these stocks. These are random stocks. I'm going to show you 20. I'm going to go through them real fast, like kind of like speed trader. Check out that broker. Great commissions. But I'm going to be a speed trader on these charts right now. And we're going to look at the 60-minute chart. Now you can see American Axle, just random stocks. Like I said, random stocks, downward trending things. We're starting to break these. We're starting to break out of these channels, right? Broke out of the channel, broke out, which is possibly a channel break. Stochastic still very strong, but a big pullback on Friday. But if we look at the 60-minute chart, you can start to see that we're already pulling back quickly on the 60-minute chart, where we are oversold here, we're oversold here, we're oversold here, and we had lower low and a lower low and a lower low. All of a sudden, we're getting down to the oversold level, and we're way up here on our price level. So we're probably going to make a run for it and start a new channel to the upside. So maybe a pullback to here, get the stochastics down to here, and then start to watch this. And that's why it's so important to have a focus list, so you could go through it each day and say, all right, here's my lines. Is the stock there? Is it holding? If it is, and we're getting a crossover, I want to go long there. Simple as that. You go to work. It's a business. It's not you're getting into the market and your head's spinning like, what the hell am I going to do now? Who knows what to buy? You want to be able to know what you're buying, when you're buying it, why you're buying it, and if it doesn't work, that's fine. But this is giving you the best opportunity. This is giving you the best, highest probability setup because of these rules. I'm gonna have a drink. I gotta take a breath here. I'm getting passionate again. I'm looking forward to this market. It's already 14 minutes into the video. Jesus. All right, let's just take a look at BA. We're going alphabetical order. Boeing's another, and I like to trying to follow higher market cap stocks. And these are all on the 60-minute chart. And you see how organized this is? I mean, it's very, very organized. It feels good about, all right, well, you move down, you move up, you move down, you move up. You think you're going to move down, but watch the stochastics. I bet we never come down. I bet we just come back up here. I bet we break out here. So that's what's just telling me. We're starting to turn over. Again, I could be totally wrong, and we could see some weakness due to something, and we could move back down. But because we're already getting to move down, normally when we see that crossover, when we see that selling, lots of times we break down through that 60 point, and then we really start to see the selling. So I want to watch that 60 point on the stochastics and see how much selling we have. I still say we're gonna end up holding somewhere in this channel off the lows, and that's going to be our triggers for this week. Here's a stock that probably might be on the watch list. I just happened to notice it fast. Again, look how fast the stochastics are coming down. You know, we have the series of lower lows, and we have the breakouts. So these breakouts that happen on this last past week, you'd see the established trend line. An established trend line, 2 points, 3 points, and you can see the breakout and the first retrace. I call this the first retracement back into an oversold level. We get a little pullback in the market, and then the new established channel and trend to the upside. So that's BBD. All right. BTU will be on the watch list this week. And again, that's a totally different watch list that goes out to members of the site, tells you to buy areas. This was a setup recently, and we took this last week for, Jesus, how many points we get on this? 3 points? And in like a couple days? I don't even remember. Maybe it was, I don't even remember. It happened so fast. This was one of the best setups out there. I might as well go over it with you because it's still set up great. You know, we recognized it off of this lower trend line. We waited for it. You know, it was on the watch list. So we knew it was coming down here. I said, buy it right off of this lower trend line. Started picking it up. It was a perfect setup, and boom, what a bounce we've gotten. 3.4 point bounce. Took it off. Started getting back in it on Friday because, again, we're just getting to move on, and I do believe that, you know, every move up is going to have a little consolidation. You can move up and have a down day. It doesn't affect the trend. You know, just because we had a down day on Friday doesn't mean the world's coming to an end. So the 60-minute chart, here's the real key, though. Look how fast we pulled back into an oversold level on the 60-minute chart. All right? And we're actually holding way off those lows. So we're putting in a base here. It's called the inverted head and shoulders pattern. A little trend line. So if we could get that break back up here, we're definitely going to get some movement. And all these stocks are setting up. Here's another great stock, and it brings me to my sector call this week. Here is Citigroup. Believe it or not, Citigroup, a bank. How dare we talk about a bank? Well, we talked about a bank on Friday as being a setup from Thursday to Friday. Was our call was Wells Fargo, and it had a nice gap up, and it ran a little, and we took profits. And before that, the Express Scripts off the lower end. That was another momentum play, which goes out in a lot of part of the day for just to hold overnight. But now I'm looking at some of the other banks, and I'm saying, all right, well, wow, here's Citigroup. Citigroup has been hammered in this downward wedge pattern. Stochastics are real choppy, but we're holding the 200 period moving average. It's not my favorite stock. I don't trade it that often. But when I did start doing a scan on the 60-minute chart, I did see the 60-minute setup. And the 60-minute setup is, again, you're seeing the lower low, the lower lows, the lows, low, low, low. And you're getting really pulling back here fast, but we're holding off of here. Downward trend line holding above the 200 period moving average, tempting us to break through. So I do think this one's going to be in play this week. Keep Citigroup on your line. And that's my financial call for this week. The financials, the banks are going to look great. I'm going to have a few banks on the 10 for 1,000 watch list, breaking down the charts and showing you the setups. And these will all be set up. Another great stock out there, and what could easily be on the watch list too, but I'd rather just get it out there, is Caterpillar. Caterpillar, a stock that, in a tight wedge pattern, starting to come out of this pattern. We started pulling back on Friday a little. Let me fix that symbol. When we take a look at that 60-minute chart, which we really want to look at, and we're going to watch that 60-minute chart. Do we get a further pullback down to this level? And what happens at this level? I have a feeling that this is going to be close to a bottom. So we got one left shoulder. We're looking at a right shoulder. It's possible. We haven't touched that 200 period moving average in a while. So the basis of the theory of the market moving up is just because all these stocks that I've been going through. I'm just going to go through a lot now. let me see what this one is. CCI, Crown Castle 60-minute chart, oversold stochastics. divergence on the thing. CCJ, a stock that we crushed, still set up perfectly. We picked it up off of the low. This was 2180. Target 23. That was over. That was down over here. It was back on the watch list on the daily, and we picked it up right on the trend line. It gave us a nice double bottom bounce. It still looks great. I have a $21 target on this. $21 target on it, and we took this trade over and over again. You can see some of my notes from previous trades. Every time it came down to this lower trend line, we took this trade for a nice bounce. And it's just about having patience, and because this one, I don't think this move is over with. I think $21 in the bag on this, so I would definitely look at getting into this early on Monday. At least watch the relative strength in it. Watch it. That's a technique where you watch the individual stock versus the market, and if it seems to be holding near the highs and the market's pulling back, then you're having a good shot of that moving higher. So we're going to be focused on that one and many other stocks. JBHT is a trucking outfit, transport stock, and again, you're starting to see that divergence. You have a little double bottom here. We'll call it even a lower low, with a low, and we're pulling back. We're holding off a recent low, but look at the trend line. Look at the 200 period moving average. We've hit it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I usually have a little technique called 4 times the charm, and then you look for that breakout. We're overdoing a lot of these stocks that are starting new channels. I don't care what kind of news is coming out of Europe. We're absorbing that. We're eating that up. Fitch downgrade. Spain, Italy showed that. Markets took that in stride. Even rallied after that because it was a perfect pattern on the 5-minute chart. Well, it's really the technicals that are playing out here now. It's good to get the news, start to get the news out of the way. Here's this downward channel that we ran up, and then actually we got overbought, and we kind of turned over and kind of closed lower. But we'll see what happens. Many other stocks, Staples, AKS Steel, MT Steel, all of these stocks are set up. But I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have about 30 stocks I got to break down now. Start the next video. Hope you gained some knowledge from that. Pay attention to the 60-minute chart. Pay attention to the markets. Watch for the upside this week. If we do, for some reason, get some news that affects this market to on the negative side of things, then of course all bets are off. And I do actually have shorts set up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 short setups for the week, and I'll be willing to pull those out if I need to pull them out. So that's it. Hope everyone enjoys this video. This is DayTraderRockStar, and don't forget we started world premiere, first match of this season, Ultimate Trader Showdown, this Tuesday, actually in live markets. Well, it was in live markets when we first did a beta test on overnight trading, but in the open market, we're going to be having 2 traders go head to head, trading the ES live Tuesday at 3:30. So if you have a chance to tune in Tuesday at 3:30, definitely come by and check it out. You're going to see some great trading, live trading. Also check out www.ultimatetradershowdown.com, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know.